Ace walks into the lavish room that was the office of the Sterling Stylers within their building, nestled in the heart of New Yorling. He takes one look around and sighs. He sees Maul sitting there at his desk, head resting on the knuckles of his bald hand. He was looking into space before Ace showed up, lifting his head to focus on him. "You're back early. I had to make it quick." Ace looks around the office and shook his head. "Look at this place. Gods, I can't leave you two alone without you making a mess, can I?" "It's not our fault," Dirge said from across the room from where he sat in the armchair. He had been sitting there unmoving for quite some time, even as Ace entered the room. "What do you mean it's not your fault? Look at this place. There's a fucking giant asshole where the window should be. What happened?" "Bounty. Bounty. What does that mean? We were going after a bounty and he ended up being a magi. So he blew a fucking hole in our building with his magicka. What the fuck you want from me? How about some professionalism? How could you let this happen? Look, we didn't know that he was a magi, all right? So get off my back." Ace looked at Maul incredulously, then shook his head. "How are we going to fix this? We don't have the money for it." "Why do you think I'm sitting here brooding like some emo teen? Luckily, I have this." Ace then dropped something in front of Maul that made him pick up the parchment and look it over. On the parchment was the large, broad face of a bearded man. Underneath the picture was handwritten information regarding the man. He was a 50-something-year-old wrestler who happened to also be known as a player and drug user. His preferred use of drugs were heroin and steroids. He used steroids to keep up with the younger and stronger competition. However, his drug use has become a problem for his colloges, who have sought the outside help of an unknown and discreet organization to take him out with no connection to their suit. This is where the Sterling Stylers come in, as their work tailored to such sensitive dealings. "We need to go to Miami for the hit. That's where I've been all this time, gathering information on this guy. Will it pay us well? They're a bunch of rich old bachelors with nothing to do but throw each other around and act buff. Of course they will pay well." "All right, we'll take it then." Maul looked to his watch briefly. "If we leave now, we can catch the next plane out of here to Miami." "Plane?" "Yay, it's the fastest way to get there. What do you expect, us to walk?" The three set out towards the airport and booked themselves a flight to Miami. Neither one of them said a word the entire time they were waiting at the lobby for their flight. However, Maul did notice that Ace had looked restless in the legs. He kept fidgeting and looking around. He wouldn't let go of his arms and seemed to look uncomfortable. Maul asked him what was wrong. Ace tried to deflect the question with a lie. "Come on, Ace. You're as skitterish as a raskin. What's the matter with you?" "It's nothing. I'm just not used to being around this many people, that's all." "Yay, but didn't you say you've been to Miami before? You just got back from there, didn't you?" "Yes, but I didn't get there by plane." "I don't understand. Did you take a bus?" "That's why it took me so long over the weekend. I've been there by bus and back." "Why didn't you take the plane? It would have been quicker, and I know we weren't that broke for you not to have bought a plane ticket." "It's not that," Ace went on, looking as if he wanted to drop the subject, but Maul pressed on, looking into him. It took him a moment before he realized. "You're afraid to fly, aren't you?" "Don't be absurd, Maul. Flying is just dangerous. You could crash at any moment. I'd rather not take the risk." "Life is a risk, Ace. You got to remember that." "Noted." The three board their plane and make it to Miami. While they were there, Mole made it clear that they were on official business and not to parley with the revelries of the beautiful state. "We're not here on vacation. That means no drinking and no partying. We're here to stake out the target and wait for our opportunity." "Can't do that with us fucking hammered. All right, let's move in." The three mingle in with the crowd of tourists as they drink at their glasses of water as not to stand out. Their attire was that of casual wear, open t-shirt, shorts, sandals, the works. About the only one that stood out amongst them happened to be Dirge, who refused to dress out of his formal attire of a dress shirt and suspenders. "Aren't you hot in that thing?" Maul questioned as he sipped at his water and looked Dirge up and down. "It's cool," was all that Dirge said as he kept his focus on scanning the tourist through his sunglasses. Well, at least you have the glasses, Maul finished, rolling his eyes and turning away to face Ace. And you're sure that the target comes to this place? Yes, I'm sure, Ace answered, not looking at Maul, but into the crowd. He was seen frequenting this very social hub on multiple occasions. Of course, he likes to come here and drink and party with gals who are way too young for him, but I'm not one to judge. Anyways, he'll be here. Good. Let's hope he isn't hammered already and passed out. Unlikely. He has a favourite girl he likes to visit while here. She tends to put on a good show of dancing for him. Ideally, this sort of thing would be private. However, the two seem to enjoy the public display, which tells me that this man is not afraid to be in the spotlight of the public. I reckon he is a popular face around here, almost a celebrity. Ace blinked as he looked around, sipping at his water. You can almost say that this place is his club and these are his people, which is why it's such a good spot for us to meet him in person and get all that we need to know from him. What more do we need to know? He's an old musclehead whose friends got tired of and want to take him out. Easy peasy. Ace now looked to Maul with a serious expression. You haven't seen this guy yet, Maul. He's not Breeze in the park. He's a shark and he's big, real big. He takes steroids, remember? Maul looked deflated and shook his head, knowing that there may be work involved with this one. Yeah, I remember. That's why I've came up with a plan. What's the plan? Maul goes over the plan with his crew, mentioning that he would have to snipe the target and take him out as the best methods of discretion. Sorry, I can't repeat or reproduce text that describes or plans real-world violent wrongdoing, like sniping or what felt like the remainder of the day, the three waiting for their target to arrive. During that time, Ace had become increasingly agitated and uncomfortable. Time and time again, he would have strangers come by to him, drunk and full of courage, and try to pick him up. They were mostly females, and though Ace tried to turn them down, the pressure of both the sight and teasing got the better of him, and he caved. He was soon under the influence after a couple of margaritas and other drinks he couldn't remember. The last thing he remembered was Maul informing that the target had arrived. By then, Ace was too drunk to be of any help. Luckily, Maul happened to be carrying poison within his arsenal of lethal murder methods. The target moved in with the rest of the crowd and immediately fit in with just a glass of drink. He would pull some of the ladies to his side and laugh out loud at corny jokes that no one understood, but laughed along anyhow. It was a good time for the target, so good that he never noticed Maul slipping the poison into his drink. After the deed was done, Maul made it back to his seat unnoticed, letting Dirge know that he had planted the seed. He then realized that Ace had been missing for some time. He questioned Dirge, who had no idea before the two of them would go on to find him. They both turned up empty, but did not sweat it, for they had time for the poison to do its job. Ace, meanwhile, had been too busy getting drunk amongst the females who had initially pulled him away to have some fun with him. He never once thought about what Maul said, his mind fogged by the alcohol and sex in the air, leaving Maul and Dirge to deal with the target along with looking for him. They never did find Ace, opting to keeping their eye on their target, who resumed his partying without falter. For hours, Dirge and Maul watched their target pull drink after drink of various alcohol glasses like it was akin to breathing. He never ailed in his drinking, nor did he seem to slow down. Maul was beginning to wonder if the poison he applied had any effect on him. What gives? He questioned Dirge. I told you, only a shark can take out a shark. Then what are we going to do? I have to face him myself. Bro, Ace is right. You're no cakewalk yourself, but look at that guy. He's twice your size. There's no way you're fighting him hand to hand. I have to. No, there's got to be another way. The two argue over how they were going to take out their target. It took some time before Maul would cave in and trust in his friend's word that he would have it all settled. All right, Dirge, I trust you. Just don't get yourself killed. I won't. The two wait out the remainder of the time it took their target to get drunk and finish his partying. That's when he would leave the safety of the social hub and towards the lockers of the beach area. He had shots of heroin and steroids at the ready inside his locker. Dirge knew this because he had followed him the entire way. Dirge watched as the old man shot his veins full of drugs and zone out on the happy candy. That's when Dirge made his move. Being a shark himself, he knew that the target was not completely out of it, just in a slight catatonic state. If he made the wrong move, now he could get his head smashed in. He walked up to the half-slumbering older shark man and spoke to him. "You're a little too into your prime to be doing drugs, aren't you?" The older shark woke from his slumber with a startle and looked to Dirge, seemingly surprised. "Who are you?" "Someone who is just like you. Someone who is afraid of their own mortality, just the same." "What are you talking about? How did you get here? Did you follow me out here?" "It doesn't matter." "No, it doesn't," the older shark said as he rose from the bench presser he previously was laying out on. He stepped over to Dirge, so close that Dirge had to take a step back from him. "You're right, it doesn't, especially when you know about my drug habit. I can't let you go knowing others might learn of it." "What are you going to do?" "Kill me." The older shark male crooked his neck in a crack. "Something like that." And the two engaged in a heated combat. Within a surge, the old man was charging towards Dirge with speed and agility that only an athlete rigged on roids can possess. This took Dirge aback as the older shark came to him with speed. Even with the sand, the older shark was able to gain enough traction to be in front of Dirge within seconds. Without halting, the older shark threw back his arm and sent out a whirling punch to Dirge's face, connecting the shot clean, which took out Dirge across the sand. Dirge landed with a tumble and roll before coming to rest on the sand. It took him a moment to rouse from the blow and cough out blood. He was bleeding from the nose and mouth and seemed to be visibly hurt from the punch. However, he still managed to take a stand. But before he could fully stand, the older shark was on him again, kicking him in the stomach with his knee and delivering another devastating blow, sending Dirge meters more away in the sand. A moment longer, and Dirge was able to stand again, coughing more blood and wiping it from his mouth. His legs shook and his vision blurred, but he still stood even as the older shark stomped his way over. "Give it up, small fry. You're never going to beat me. I'm a star athlete, pride and all." "Yay." There was a break for silence between the two before the older shark spoke up. "Why are you doing this, small fry? Did you come all this way to pick a fight with me?" "Huh, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Just business." "Business? What kind of business? Did you come here to kill me? Did someone put a hit out on me?" The older shark feigned puzzlement. "I bet it was that, Frank. He's been wanting me out of the game for years. He's going to have to do better than that if he sent a shitty small fry like you to take me out." Dirge said nothing as he prepped for another attack. The older shark looked annoyed at this before he would continue. "Fine, have it your way, small fry. I guess I will have to crush you like everyone else." The older shark wailed on Dirge for a while longer until Dirge was a bloody mess. The entire time during the fight, the older male couldn't help but boast on just how strong and capable he was over Dirge, how his muscles bulged in contrast to Dirge's scrawny body, how he was able to move all that mass in such quick timing. All of this Dirge took him with the brutal blows. It came a time during the older shark's gain of breath that Dirge would speculate. "This isn't about me." The older shark paused and crooked his bushy grey eyebrows at Dirge. "What are you talking about now?" You're getting old and you're afraid." "I ain't afraid of nothing, you fool. Look at me, I got fortune and fame." "You don't have time." The older shark ailed in his boasting long enough for Dirge to continue. "I can see it. Even without the eyes, I see it. You're just like the rest of the old cooks to get too far into their prime. You start feeling old and out of the game, while everyone else, especially the young males, are making it out further than you. Sure, you may be in your prime, but you're out of time. I don't even have to carry out this hit, and you will still meet your end soon. What are you? You keep living the way you are, and you will meet your fate sooner than expected. I will say that." "Are you trying to lecture me, boy?" The older shark walked over to Dirge with immense animosity that it radiated around the older gentleman. Dirge could see this, but would not move from where he stood. When the older shark came in for another barrage of attacks, that's when Dirge made his move, and stuck several needles of drugs into the bulky shark and avoided the blows with a timed leap back. The older shark didn't seem to notice that he had just been injected with not 3 but 7 needles, all full of steroids and heroin. He kept his assault against Dirge, who would easily and nimbly dodge out of the way. Now that the large bull had been slowed down by his own drugs, it was easier for Dirge to make it out alive during the otherwise one-sided fight when the large bull suddenly toppled over, like a large tower crumbling down. The drugs, along with the poison and years of drug abuse, had finally done the old man in. He was dead before he hit the sand, his life force diminishing before Dirge's very eyes. Just business, Dirge confessed again as he straightened the glove of his hand. The entire time Maul had been watching the scuffle from the scope of his sniper rifle from some distance away. He was prepared to take the shot even if he knew that it would have no effect on the large shark. He had to be there for his friend anyhow. Luckily, the smaller shark proved to be smarter than he looked and outsmarted the large bull into overdosing. Because of the exertion of the fight, the blood flow of the bull shark had been accelerated, thus allowing the drugs along with the previous poison to take effect and finally take down the bull. Dirge knew this, which was why he decided to confront the older shark rather than sneak the needles into him while the bull was out of it. Once all was said and done, Ace finally arrived to where the two last were, that being the social hub. He had been passed out during the entire ordeal, coming around with kiss marks all over his face and dishevelled hair. When asked where he was all the time, Ace took a moment to try and remember, but came up with nothing. Maul nor Dirge seemed to be annoyed by this and was on the plane by midnight back to New Yorleng.